Hi everyone and happy Saturday, and I'm actually here. I wasn't looking too great. Wasn't looking too ideal that I was going to be on here today, but I did rally in the middle of the day. And so after a couple weeks, at least a couple weeks off, I am hopefully back to doing videos. Um, I am going to cover a little bit. Okay, so first off, I had a number of books to flip through, and I also had a couple supplies that I had picked up over the past couple months. So I figured I would turn this into like a supply and book haul video, and so that will be coming up right after this little intro and announcement type thing. If you don't want to hear me yap but just want to get to the goods, there are jump links in the description, chapters that are set up so you can go see what you want to see. Not going to hurt my feelings. I know we only also have so much time. But if you want to hear about like color alongs and little bit tidbits, I'm going to go ahead and share them now while I'm thinking about them. Otherwise, I'll just forget. Plus, I'm doing this video kind of backwards. So the books, so there's only like 3 supplies. It's a set of watercolors, a small set of watercolors, and then 2 sets of the super golden markers in different sizes. So BMO's trying to figure out how to get in here. My light was, the way my light on my desk is, it was making my husband's migraine worse, so I had to like shut the door completely, and those cats cannot abide by a shut door. Uh, they can't stand it. So if you want to get straight to that, that's fine. I understand, but I just want to go ahead and tell you all that. But I am going to talk a little bit about a color along for October here in a second. And then we'll get to the few supplies I have. The coloring book haul will be full flips because I don't want to do a separate flip video because I'm lazy, I guess. So you guys get full flips of those books. But again, there are chapters, so if there's certain books you don't want to see, yeah, feel free to hop through at your leisure, so to speak. Couple things just quickly. I will cover all this more in a color and chat next weekend. But for those of you that saw my community post and my Instagram post and things like that, one of the reasons I took a break is because Winry wound up with a really bad UTI. When I came back from Seattle, she didn't want to eat. She ended up at the vet's office, hospitalized for a couple of days. She is home. She is done with her antibiotics. She is eating. She goes in for another recheck next Friday just to make sure we got it all. But she has seemingly recovered and is back to her mostly older self. There are no words. I am beyond grateful. Given her age and her health issues, I was genuinely worried, especially when she had to stay at the vet for a few days, that it was going to be difficult for her to pull through this, given her weight and how tiny she is. But she has bounced back. She's at the weight she was before all this started. And she's back to eating like a little bird, so it's really frustrating when I want to see her eat more, but I have to have confidence that she is eating like she should. We did weigh her before she came off the anti-nausea med. She was back up to 6.5 pounds, and so thus I will be weighing her bi-weekly, something like that. That's really the only way I can tell that she's eating and keeping on weight, just because she just refuses to eat if she catches me watching her. So she is doing much better. Thank you to all those that commented. That has been a huge relief, weight off of me. There has also been some restructuring happening at work where I went to Seattle. We have switched managers like twice in a week. Now we're under a new group, and she's been out on vacation. Our old manager's been out on vacation. Actually, our old manager moved entirely. My direct manager moved to a new role in a different org. And then the one we were supposed to move under was her manager, and then eventually moved to this other group, but they went ahead and moved us. It's been a mess. And there's still some moving and shaking going on in that area, and I'm hoping that I will get some news in regards to that this next week. So as always, I don't talk much about my job on here for obvious reasons, but during my coloring chat I hope to have some more information that will hopefully be a path one way or another. Hopefully this is a path to things calming down for me, but job-wise things have just been really up in the air for the past, well, really for the past year, past 6-7 months, but in particular these last 2 months have been rather tumultuous. There you go. And it has not helped matters. I am currently going through a burnout kind of situation like I did last year. I was able to take a leave of absence last year, but this year I just don't feel comfortable doing so with all this movement. I'm a little worried there might not be anything to come back to if I do. So I'm having to just try to navigate it as best I can. And because of that, I'm not coloring, I'm not doing videos, I'm just burned out on life, and I'm just really struggling to do anything other than doom scroll all day and sleep. But that could be the weather, that could be a lot of things. So, okay, there's that. I did also want to say, I know a lot of you know that I am in Tennessee. I am in Middle Tennessee. I'm north of Nashville. While we got hit with a significant amount of rain from Hurricane Helene, we have not seen flooding, like especially like what is currently happening in East Tennessee. One of my mods actually lives over in East Tennessee, and I think she's had some power outages, but other than that, I've seen updates from her. So, but people in East Tennessee near the North Carolina Tennessee line are not faring well. That's over near where Gatlinburg and like the Great Smoky Mountains are at, in that Appalachia region. Have been, as we all know, the total west coastline of Florida was devastated from the hurricane. We all know that, but there's also just been historic flooding and devastation all up through Georgia, and particularly that section of North Carolina and Tennessee. There, I saw a map this morning, and western North Carolina is basically closed. Just about all the roads are closed, and the problem there is that those people didn't get evacuation notices like the ones in Florida did. They really didn't anticipate the level of flooding, and some of the dams not failing, like not breaking up completely, but having some of the dams in jeopardy where more water is being released than should be. In emergency situations, they did not anticipate all that. Thus, the people in North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia weren't told to evacuate until the dams were already struggling and the water was already rising. And so a lot of those people, all these roads have been washed out, and they're essentially trapped. They can't get in, they can't get out. There's a whole section of I-40 that actually me and my brother took a portion of that on our way back from Philadelphia earlier this year, that has completely collapsed because it's alongside the mountain. And it is shocking to me. I mean, shocking to everybody, but it's just, I can't imagine, like, and I'm not trying to minimize what happened in Florida by any means, but a couple things, like normally they know things like this are going to happen in Florida, and there are resources and support in place for them. Though don't get me started on like home insurance issues in Florida. I have a brother-in-law that lives on the east coast of Florida, and like, if you can get home insurance and flood insurance down there, it's like astronomically high. Some places don't even want to cover it anymore with the increase in global warming. I think this is just going to get worse. But, you know, it's easy for you to go and tell somebody, hey, just move. But if they've been born there, if they have financial obligations or reasons there, they may not just be able to pick up and move. And like, you may not be able to sell your house because if nobody's going to offer flood insurance on it, nobody may want to buy it. And so, you know, for some of those people, they may have to just walk away and completely start over. And that's just, especially in this economy, like, so, you know, I'm not trying to minimize what's happened down there, but I do know that, like, they have the preparedness, they had the evacuation plans, they prepared for it. I do not think from Georgia, you know, North Georgia up, that they were so adequately prepared, especially in the Appalachia region, for something like that. And so oftentimes that is a poor region overall in terms of income and things like that. So a lot of those people, even if they've been given orders to evacuate, would not have been able to. There's a lot of elderly, disabled people up in that area. Oftentimes the Appalachia region gets overlooked in terms of support. Our state is a very red Republican state that does not do emergency preparedness well. So don't get me started on that. I really hope our governor actually steps up and does not start fighting with the current administration over money and resources, because it happens to come from a Democratic administration. At this point, it doesn't matter. Support is support, and you need to just suck it up. And that's my fear, one of my fears. But we just don't have those types of preparedness procedures in place, and they just weren't prepared for it. And so the pictures are stunning, devastating. There are no words. But I just note it because while I'm lucky enough to be sitting here dry in my part of Tennessee where we got much needed rain, we got it at the expense of devastation in other areas. And so that, like, sits with me. Like, I don't feel don't feel good about that at all. But like, I'm very lucky and I'm very fortunate. So I just don't want it to seem like I'm minimizing any of the historical events that are happening this weekend. And as the next few days go by, as hopefully places begin to dry out, as certain fundraising and organizing and gathering supplies, and I don't want, and I say this at the end of the video too, I don't want the spotlight that's currently on that area to get lost. This happened in Kentucky in the Appalachia region. They had a lot of devastating historic flooding in the past few years, and like at first there was a little coverage, and then everybody pretty much just ignored them because they're just, oh, poor mountain people, you know, they're not high on the priority list. And I even feel like, you know, like McConnell and some of them in that state now, Bashir, the governor of Kentucky, is fantastic. I feel like he did a lot to try to help them as much as he could and keep the spotlight on them. But certain people in their state didn't care about them. And I don't want that to happen to the people of Tennessee and North Carolina and Virginia. And so I'm hoping that community resources, fundraising, things like that continue to happen. And as that gets coordinated in my upcoming videos, if I see places that I know like are good places to donate and stuff, if you want to help, I will be linking to those, because I do feel like it's important to not just get caught up in the next big piece of news and forget about these people. So, okay, there's my piece there. A lot of pieces today. This is a pretty big intro here. This is what happens when I don't do videos for 2 or 3 weeks. One other thing, so watercolor summer is pretty much at an end. I gave till the end of September and I have not done a single video this month for it, and I apologize. It just did not happen. I really had one more planned at least. To everybody that participated in it, thank you so much. I've got a lot to work my way through on Instagram, liking and commenting on people's posts. It really picked up this year. I feel like I did a lot for it for watercolor summer, more in any previous summers, and I feel like other people really participated in it as well, and I love to see that. So thank you so much for participating. In saying that, I do have another color along coming up in October that I've done for a couple of years, and this one's kind of bittersweet because I remember one year I did this with John, who used to be the bibliophile colorist, and I had mentioned in a video a couple weeks ago that he has recently passed away, and so this color along really makes me think about him. And so in October, as you see here, I have a lot of cat related stuff here, and that is because we do Catober coloring every year, and we're going to do it again this year. I may modify the tag a little bit just to kind of do it in honor of John, because he has been my co-host for this in the previous years, and just kind of, I think it would be a nice kind of in memory of him, because he very much loved his cats. I know he had one in particular. I think he had another one there in the last few years, but I can't be 100% sure. I think her name was Katya. She's I loved the name of his cat. It was so exotic. I loved it. So I do want to do it in honor of him. I will probably post this on Instagram later today. Like I said, the tag may look a little different, and I'll explain, I'll explain in the description why. But I do want to do it in his memory this year. So we are going to start with that, and it's pretty simple. If it looks like a cat, if it's a cat, if it's cat shaped, if it is an animal in a cat costume, if it is in the shape of a cat on the paper, like if you paint a background that's a cat shape. Just pretty much if there's any sort of allusion to a cat in the picture, it counts. I am very flexible in my tags, and I will put the tag in this video as well. And so that's going to be all for October, and you'll probably see me at least color out of this book this month. It's been a while, so it's time to get back to it. But I did want to go ahead and officially announce that, because I want to go ahead and get it out there for the few days we have in September while that is finishing up. Now, was there anything else? I don't think so. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the few little supplies I have to show you, and then we will round out with books. This is a little longer video than usual. And yeah, so all right. So supplies, I have picked up a few. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm really happy with what I have. And so unless I'm buying more of the set of markers that I have, of paints, of something that I'm running out of, I don't anticipate I'm going to be, you won't see a lot of big supply hauls from me in the future. Well, I'll talk about this in a minute, but it's just mostly going to be little one-offs, and so I'll probably be doing more of these type combination hauls in the future. I'm just really to a point where I have enough. and I gotta really get a mindset like this with my books too. But for right now, I'm feeling pretty good about my supplies, and I'm running out of room, and I just need to start making harder decisions from here on out. And I have been. It hasn't been as much, I think, since my birthday. I have like maybe one or two more pencil sets in mind, but other than just buying new markers and new paints as stuff runs out, I don't anticipate I will be picking up a lot of significant amount of supplies in the future. So what I'll probably do is start going through my collections and showing you what I have, like all my different watercolors, sort of like I'm doing my coloring book collections. That's probably what I'm going to start doing in lieu of regular supply hauls. I don't know, towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. I wanted to do it with my watercolors during watercolor summer, but we just ran out of time. So, all right. So I had ordered a small, from Dreamland Watercolor, I did do a demo with some paints from watercolor paints from her. I'll put that here in the top right. If you want to see how her paints do like on paper. But I had bought, she had major arcana, she had 3 parts to it. She also had a small 4 set of minor arcana paints. She accidentally shipped me the wrong ones, so I had to wait for her to reship these, but I got them while I was gone. And so there's just 4 paints here, but it is they're unique colors that I don't think are represented in her other sets. So there's a suit of wands, suit of swords, which is a pretty silver, suit of cups, that's that kind of green, and suit of coins, which is you get a really beautiful silver and gold in this, with like that sort of magenta purple and then that kind of green gold color. I just thought they were pretty significant standout colors, so I wanted to grab those. They are still drying. She did, so I'm going to link to her site. She did just put a new set of metallic watercolors on pre-order, and I may have gotten them. I know, I already have like 3 other sets of metallic paints, but her watercolors are so good. They are luxurious, they are pricey, but they are beautiful quality. And if you saw me do that demo, or you saw the result of that picture in the Lulu Mayo tarot book, like, they are stunning watercolors. So you will be seeing those probably in the next couple months, because her pre-orders normally take 4 to 6 weeks. But those are available for pre-order on her site, and she may have some other stuff in her shop as well, so if you want to check those out. The other items I got, I've seen Happy Catastrophe talk about these a ton lately, and I'm really into these super shiny, luxurious looking paints right now, so I'm really drawn to these super gold markers, and Tammy's talked about them a lot too. I did get the 0.7 millimeter 12 color set, and then the 2 to 3 millimeter 18 color set. So these have been kind of sitting here for the past few months for me to unbox, and I would like to start using them. So we're going to go ahead and just swatch 1 or 2 on this cardstock I got. Now, I did not realize the pens were individually wrapped. Rats. I would have already done that. Y'all know I don't like having to undo a lot of plastic on here. So this is what the metallic 0.7 millimeter ones look like. So basically like a fine tip. So basically what you want to do with these is you want to shake them. I do need to swatch all these out and just make sure none of them are dry. I think Tammy had some trouble with one of her sets being dry. A lot of times getting like alcohol markers and things like this from Amazon can be press the tip down for a while and then recap. It can be kind of a shot in the dark, because sometimes you may get product that's been sitting there for a long time, and so it may already be dried out. Most of the time you can get either like a refund or a new set. I should have already done this, because it's probably past that date for me. That's the biggest problem I have when I buy stuff right now. Oh my gosh. Is there anything in here? Yeah, don't do like me. Check them as soon as you get them. Okay, I'm starting to get something. Check them as soon as you get them, so that you're still within that window. I just sat on them for a while. Ah, there we go. I sat on them for a while, so it may take a while to prime them. Ooh, look at that. That is pretty. So obviously I have the Dreamland watercolors, but for like really fine areas, or smaller areas that I don't feel like getting out like a whole, you know, quarter, half pan of watercolors, these will be great. So that's the, like I said, just basically a fine point marker with the 0.7. Let me pull out one of the others. And this is the 2 to 3 millimeters, so much bigger marker. These also come in more colors. The bigger markers come in 18 colors. Have to open these with my teeth. The bigger markers come in 18 colors. The smaller, more fine tip ones are just 12. So I like to try to be prepared. This is so annoying. I mean, I appreciate they do this because this obviously will keep them from drying out as much, but it's just a hassle when you're, now you can really hear the liquid in that. I can hear the liquid in that one. I'm shaking it, if you're wondering why I sound like I'm shaking. It's because I am. These might be fun in these color by number books. The one I just showed you, the cats one, and then some of the others. Like if there are a few little areas that are detailed that would be nice to add a little shine to. Okay, this one's coming much faster to come out. But definitely shake them up. Might have to have a little patience with them. I'm assuming like the acrylic markers that come out with like paint already ready so that you don't have to prime them like this are probably more convenient. However, I wonder if those dry out faster. Alright, so that's kind of the same color. Well, it's supposed to be, it looks like it's supposed to be the same color. Maybe I didn't shake it up enough. It doesn't look quite as yellow. Like the thinner color is more of like a green gold, and then, or more like a gold with green in it, and then the thicker color is more of just green bordering on gold. There it goes. As it dries, it's looking a little more like it. So will these colors look exactly the same like if you're using the small and the big marker? That I don't have an answer for you, but so let's take a quick look. This is what the 18 set looks like. You got, it might be a little hard to see here, but it looks like you got two different types of silver, kind of a bronze, a red, a magenta, purpley pink, blue, another darker bronzy color, blue green, that looks like purple, a lighter blue, another blue green. That's more of just regular green. Another, so you've got like 3 shades of blue, couple shades of pink, and then like an orange, and then you've got a couple, looks like might be the same gold one, which that makes sense. I think you would want 2 gold and 2 silver, so I think that's probably more of like a platinum than a silver. Do they have color names on them? No, I don't think so. So that's more of like a platinum, that's silver. You've got, I think these are the same here. If they aren't, they're very close, but that's okay. I'm okay with having 2 gold markers like this. So quite a few colors in that one. And then in this one, you've got a gold, yellow, orange, orange, dark blue, mid blue, magenta, kind of an ochre brown, bronze color, a green, purple, and a silver, and then this kind of lime green color. So you don't really have the aqua green in this one. You don't have that super light blue. You don't have the extra gold. And you don't have as many pinks. So just good to show you what colors are in what, just in case you have specific colors you like. So I've given that a little bit of time to dry. It is still, I think, a darker green than the top one. But like I said, it may just be, and they're already dry to the touch, so they dry super fast. Well, they are super gold. Oh, no, there's one. Oh, that was up there. Okay, so if you're dotting them, obviously, but they dry pretty quick. So expect to see these this next month as I color. So, all right, so I think that wraps up the first half of this. Now let's move to the books. All right, so we are going to do the coloring book haul portion of this. Remember, I am going to do full flip throughs on this. Usually when I do hauls, I just show you a little bit, but because I honestly don't want to do 2 videos, you get to see the whole book flip in this one. As I mentioned probably earlier in the video, there are jump links in the description, so if there's certain books you have an interest in, you can, use those to move to the ones that you have more interest in. So we're going to start with the non-Lyrica books first, and then we'll end with those. So this here is a pocket edition of the Coloring Heaven books. Now, I don't have a subscription because a lot of times I just end up buying their books as a one-off. Plus, their subscription only covers like their typical issues that they put out. I don't think they cover the pocket editions or the collection issues. So I usually just buy these one-off as I see them. And I had shown you, I think at a previous flip, some digital pages I had picked up from Paper Panda. I really like their art, and this is a very unusual book for me because this has like quotes and sayings in it, and normally I'm not big on coloring pages that have those in there. However, I love this art so much that I'm okay with it. Like, this is a book I made an exception for. So it's called Happy Moments, and it's exclusive designs by Paper Panda. Again, if you don't want to invest in the book, I will probably go ahead and link again to their site where they do have some digital prints that they're putting up. And sure enough, as soon as I start recording, hang on a minute, let me turn that off. As soon as I start recording, never fails. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, this is smaller as a pocket edition than the typical Coloring Heaven issues. Here is a Coloring Heaven collection I have, and then here is the pocket version. So the pocket is a smaller version of their books. We'll just set that over there for now. These are adorable. The way they draw their animals, they are just so cute. Like, I love that one. I actually bought a couple stickers from them as well. Their prints, like the actual prints that they sell, are stunning. Stunning. I was tempted to get one, but I was like, I could just color one of these pages and put it on the wall. But I would love to see more from them in terms of art and like the digital prints. Maybe they do their own coloring book someday. That would be awesome. I think the coloring pages kind of fell in, you know, as one of those things that came up as they were doing other stuff, but I definitely would like to see more of their art developed. Isn't that cute? They even have landscape pages. I like that. That would be a good one for Foxy February. Oh my gosh. Well, that's true, but if I went by that logic in this house, I would never get any work done. Because they're sleeping all the time. All the time. Like there's some seasonal ones in here too. I love the little turtleneck all the way up to under his chin, or his chin. Very cute little book. Like I said, between this and the digital prints that they offer, I would really love to see them do more, and I will be keeping a close eye on their page as they put out more digital prints, because I mean they are, you know, a couple dollars US a piece, so I feel like they're pretty reasonable there. I did pick up the 2 Annee Day books that Morgan O'Brien put out. We have a Winter Tales coloring book. These are also slightly smaller than a typical size coloring book. Not that it really makes a difference, but sometimes I forget and I get surprised, but I'm used to Morgan O'Brien's books and they're always in this format, so. But just as an FYI, I do really like the Annee Day books. I've probably already said it because I'm doing this in bits and pieces, but I really hope I can bust out of the kind of like burnout slump I'm in right now. It's a real shame that this ends up happening. Like this happened at the same time last year, and it's like during my favorite time of the year. That's so cute. Oh, this will be a new year with the tree and BMO. I just realized BMO has not went through a Christmas with us yet. And she is definitely the type of cat that will climb that tree. All the other ones relatively leave it alone now. They've just gotten to the point they're older. They've lost their enthusiasm for it, or they're too fat. But BMO is BMO's getting chunky. Not chunky, but she's definitely, I think she weighs as much as Repetit now. She's definitely like, I think a good weight. It's just she's still got that kitten-sized head. That's cute. And so she's still, like, her body looks bigger than it should, but I think when she finally gets like an adult cat, the cat head is like, when you get a kitten that goes to a full-grown cat, they say it actually can take like 2 years, which in my experience has been the case. And a lot of times their body will look more like a full-grown cat before their head does. Their head will still stay like kitten-sized. And then one day, it's like from one day to the next, poof, suddenly they've turned into a full adult cat. And that's kind of the stage where she's at right now. And I think they said she was 7 months in March, so she's definitely over a year. She's pretty much a year and some change now. So. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting, might have to find that clear fishing line and make sure that thing's attached to the wall or the ceiling. She's like 11, 12 pounds. She could easily bring that tree over if she wants. Okay, that is adorable. The fact that the turkey is celebrating at the table with all them. I love that. Yeah, boy, you didn't know which way this was going, right? Like, he's. I just now got this series of pictures here. Her looking at him and looking at that cookbook and then switching up. That is adorable. Oh my gosh. I might just have to do those two pictures for Thanksgiving. I love that so very much. Super cute. And then the Autumn Vibes coloring book. Which I think we are officially, with the with Hurricane Helene coming through, my guess is that this is probably our big switch to fall-like weather. Usually each year, and you know, not to this capacity, thank goodness, but each year, it's kind of like when we go from spring to summer. Normally we get like real soaking rain and like a whole lot of wind for a couple weeks, and it's like you can truly see like the season, like spring almost blowing in, quite literally. And that's kind of what happens in the fall too. This fall quite literally just blows in, and given the amount of wind we've had the last couple days, that is so cute. I love that picture. Given recent events, I have a feeling this is where our fall cool down's officially going to start. We needed rain. Like, we were in various levels of drought in the state. Like, it was becoming a drought emergency in some counties. We hadn't had a significant rain, and it impacted like crops around here. I've noticed that like our produce has not been as good this season as it normally is. My dad has like some tomatoes in his garden, some different plants, and like they just weren't producing anything. And then and that's been the case across the board. I haven't seen nearly as many people at like farmers markets or roadside stands because the lack of water has just not done. Oh, that's so cute. Has not been good for like produce and stuff. And then we got a good soaking rain a couple weeks ago, and like my dad's tomato plants went crazy. He had us bring a bunch home because he had a bunch, and I'm like, oh no. Garden tomatoes are like my favorite type of homegrown produce. I could eat them like candy. If you've never had a garden tomato, oh, and you like tomatoes, you're missing out. I've even considered, even though trying to do a garden here would be so difficult, we'd have to build like an electric fence or something, because we literally have deer that like traipse through our yard all day, every day. They would eat it up. And that groundhog out there would too. Um, but I've thought about trying to at least do a couple tomato plants because I love tomatoes so much. If I could have a couple tomato plants and then a couple like colorful like red or yellow bell pepper plants, I would be perfectly happy with that. This is such a cute book. Oh, it's that big old stuffy. It's so cute. Love this. Me here, this is me lately, y'all. didn't even need to be fall yet, and that's me. Alright, next up is the latest release from Alexandra Franzese, and I love this because A, it's Halloween and related, and B, it's a different look than a lot of the Halloween books I'm seeing lately, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of the Halloween books I've seen this year are very similar, but the next couple I'm going to show you I feel like stand out as more unique, and I really like that. And I normally don't like portrait type pictures, but hey, if it's Halloween or if it's cats, if it's Halloween cats or woodland creatures, you can pretty much put them in any format and I will like them. So this is Spooky Portraits. And I was super excited about this one because it just looks, it's got a different look to it. And this is more of a average size coloring book. So basically you just have pictures with like a really cute border around them with some light shading, which is Alexandra's style, and I love that. This is also available in a travel size, so if you don't want a book quite this big, the travel size is maybe closer to the pocket size here. I don't have a travel size version of her books, so I can't show you for sure, but it's probably more like that Coloring Heaven pocket size book, and so you have like less area to cover. Some people prefer that. I just like the full-sized ones because I like markers and I like doing you know, a little bit of shading and sometimes pencil and stuff like that. A lot of times I prefer the full-size images because with like normal chisel tips and brush tips, it can get a little difficult if they're smaller and more detailed images. Oftentimes I need smaller markers. And I probably need a new towel tree set, but I just don't want to really do that right now until I know for sure I'm going to color with them. I don't like buying up markers and having them sit here for months before I get really good use out of them. And of course, if I buy the slimline markers like that, I'm going to want to hold them and save them for the images I'm going to use them in. I typically use those, love this. I typically use them in like my George Tufek's color by numbers, but I really haven't. I don't know if I've colored a single George Tufek's picture this year. So until I get back into those, I think I'm just going to hold it off. So anyway, the bigger pages make it easier to color with like chisel and brush tip. These are so cute. This almost has like a Halloween / Christmas vibe to it. I love that. That'll be a good one. Because this is the thing, you're going to see me color Halloween. Well, I mean, you see me color Halloween through the year, but definitely well into November. Especially just because I'm kind of in a slump right now. I keep saying I'm going to start in September, and then the past 2 years I've just gotten so burnt out on life, I guess, that I don't feel up to coloring much in September. Also, it's been a very busy month, so I have to make up for it for like November. I think she said this was her last Halloween book of the year. I appreciate that she does these well in time for Halloween coloring. Like I said, if you want to get a jump on it early in September or have it in plenty of time for all of October, I appreciate that she gets these out early. See, herein lies the problem when you have specific like seasonal or holiday books that you love. They'll put out a whole bunch of really good ones one year, and you'll pick them all up and you'll color in them. But then you have all those next year, but then they come out with amazing ones the next year too. Like Alexandra Franzese, which is great. I love seeing her be successful and doing so well, and I want to support her. And I love these pictures so darn much, but I just, like, I have spooky chibis as what I want to work in. But then you just, amass quite a collection of Halloween books when you do that, or whatever your favorite type is. All right, Ghostly Cute Miniatures to Color by Kameliya Angelkova. That is interesting. Okay, I wondered about that because I saw some other people coloring from this, and I had gotten excited because I saw that these were possibly black background pictures again, and I know a lot of people didn't like when she did the black backgrounds in her Halloween miniatures book, but I loved it. And so these are black backgrounds, but they're a little different. Again, I love Kameliya Angelkova's books. That's why I was saying these are a little different as well. And these are the miniatures, so they're more like, I guess, scenes to cut. Miniatures, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking of her other scenes ones. So, the unfortunate part is I have been having really good luck, and see, I just haven't had a chance to look at this book until now. I've been having really good luck with the Amazon locations I've had printed. This was in Orlando, doing the full black backgrounds instead of, and them looking like rich black backgrounds instead of like this dark gray color. But unfortunately, it looks like I got a not so great printing of that this time, which is a bit of a bummer. However, it's fine. It's fine. I won't worry about it too much. And honestly, if it bothers me that much, I'll just go back over it with a black marker. These are not huge pictures. So it looks darker on the camera because I manipulated this so it wasn't quite as bright as it is in real life, so you could see the detail a little better, but it is more of like a really dark gray. I am disappointed in that, but that is nothing, that is not on the artist at all. It's just the inconsistency and frustration with Amazon printing. The more I look at this, the more I do like the fact that these do have a black background, but it's not encompassing the whole page. So like, it doesn't, I think having full black pages made the images feel a little smaller last year, maybe. I don't know how to explain it, but I think this effect is definitely the way to go if she wants to do black backgrounds rather than doing the whole page. So hopefully people are more pleased with this year. Love that picture. I do love that her books have 50 images as well. I feel like that really makes them stand out. Of course, I love the owls. and the little monster or whatever that is. The only thing is, like, I would love to do one of these as like a 31 day kind of advent coloring, not advent, but like a 31 countdown coloring for Halloween. But because there are 50 images, you would have to do like a year and a half, or you'd have to start 50 days beforehand. Now, maybe next year I feel a little better come September, and then maybe I can do a 50-day countdown instead of just a 31-day. That would be cool. So cute. Like, it's a combination of like sloths and birds and cats and dogs, and then also little monsters, little spooky like pumpkin head things and dragons. Love that. All right, so now we're going to get into my Lyrica order. Now, in these, I'm going to have to, I'm not going to be able to flip through like all the pages because they're color by number, and like you're not going to really see anything. So what I'm going to do is show you the solutions in the back of the book. And so if you don't want to be spoiled by those, you may want to skip these and skip to like the next one or whatever. But I'm just going ahead and giving you a heads up that the remaining books, that's what we're going to do. So if you have no interest in those, I completely understand, or maybe you don't want to be spoiled. I will forget these in about 3 hours, so it's not going to make a difference to me whether I see them or not. The way my memory is these days, so I'm not too worried about it. Of course, it started with me wanting to get the Legrand Classiques version 11 because I had seen people showing this one for Disney, and it's like double page spreads, an insane amount of colors. I think this is the one with a bunch of double page spreads. Yeah. And so these look insanely detailed. Do you see this? What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Oh boy. Who is it? There's somebody on YouTube who has these books, and she actually goes ahead and colors in them with alcohol markers, and she'll just pick the pages that she prefers, and if it, it bleeds through, that's fine. She only, ends up coloring there's 100 images in these, and she only ends up coloring about 50, and like, I so admire her for that, and I want to do that like so very badly, because I feel like even at 50 images, this would be, I would pay the same price for this book. One of the reasons I get hung up on these books is because they are double-sided, and so oftentimes I'm using water-based markers or paint markers, or I'm trying to find something to color these with that won't bleed through, and that makes it more tedious for me and frustrating. And oftentimes I would do so many more of these if I could just use my alcohol markers. But whoever she is, I cannot remember. I wish I could offhand, but like, I so admire her for that. I really should do that. But the images are usually so awesome, I don't know if I could pick. So, alright, we're going to look at the solutions on the back of this one. Oh my gosh, I think these are all double page spreads, y'all. And see, this too is where it gets tricky. Alright. So like, yeah. No, they're not all. So like, there are some single pages. So like, yeah, here I couldn't pick from these. I guess if I had to pick, if I absolutely had to pick, so 3 and 4 are on separate pages. If I had to pick, I would pick this over this. But then 5 and 6, I would have to pick between her and this one. So, which, you know, I could probably pick her. But anyway, that's my point, is just it would get, especially with these double page spreads, I think it's would be very tricky to do that. And who knows, I may do it. I may change my mind and say I can handle that. Like, I don't necessarily need these. I like this one. I like this one. I like these two. So maybe I could do it to some. That's the, oh gosh, what is it called? I started to say Outer Worlds, but that's not right. It was one they did straight to like streaming, and a lot of people didn't like it, and I actually thought it was fairly decent. Like, I didn't think people gave it enough credit. Strange Worlds, maybe, might be. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing that with that Star Trek show. Who knows? Anyway, these are beautiful pictures. Just stunning. But when I tell y'all, I still have the Villains book, and I still haven't finished the very first picture I started on that one. Because some of these are incredibly detailed. Like this one, oh my gosh. I just don't know. This one, the Elements one, was also very good. I thought this one did not get near enough attention. I thought it was quite good myself. I actually just watched Wish on my flight to Seattle a couple weeks ago, and it was all right. Again, I hear so many people get so upset about some of these movies, but then I watched them, and yeah, I mean, they're not as memorable as like Ratatouille or Toy Story, or, you know, a lot of these that I'm showing right here, but like, or Hercules, like, but where I constantly watch them over and over again. But like, I wouldn't be opposed to watching Wish again in my lifetime. Like, it'll make it into the rotation. I just won't watch it as often as the others. Like, I don't know. I feel like people got real bent out of shape about that one. And I watched it and I'm like, I don't know what the big deal is. Kind of the same with Strange Worlds or whatever it was called. A lot of people got bent out of shape about that one because they thought it was being too inclusive or something. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, calm down. Calm down. No, it's not. It's not the Disney quality that a lot of us, I guess, are used to. Because what movies are the quality that we're used to? Let's be honest. I mean, if I had to sit there and look at there's a reason why I don't watch a lot of current movies, and that's because they're just not the same quality as they were, 10, 20 years ago. It's not just Disney that has that problem. All right, anyway, off my soapbox there. The other three are not Disney. I was just in a stressful buying mood that day, and I wanted some others. So I have a nature one, but I don't have this one. Of course, I saw the foxes on the front, and that caught my interest. Now, this one doesn't seem to be as complex as the Disney one. Oh, that's something else. The colors in the Disney one. Like, look at this color key down here, y'all. Like, look at these two color keys. Here's one for a double page. Like, trying to find matching colors, especially not being able to use alcohol markers. Oh my gosh. Like, but anyway, this one looks a lot more doable. So let's... Now these are just a lot less complex, but I love that. It's more like just a pop of art, like a pop art type style. that I love. I actually love this one here with the bird and the leaves. Now, some of these I would love to just focus on the one side, like this tiger or something. A couple of them I would love to commit a coloring book crime and cut them from the book and put them on the wall. I love that one. That one's fun. I feel like I could do that a little bit more in here. Like, oh, now it didn't jumped. Because all these pictures are beautiful, but some of them I don't necessarily need. Like, I could live with that. Or I could do both sides and then show one side for a while and just flip it. Big difference in complexity. But I kind of love that. I feel like these might make me get into these books more and feel like I can accomplish, like, oh, that one's awesome. Accomplish some of these, like, in one sitting. Not one sitting, but like in a month, whereas some of the Disney ones might take a couple months to finish. There's a Mangas one. This one looks incredibly detailed. This one, not so much. I'd say it's a mix between the one we just saw and like the Disney one. Not as incredibly complex. And you've got actual people and manga characters in this one. The ones I really don't like are the ones that look like one picture till you color them and then they look like something else. I don't like that. I just, because I still see that original picture in those finished pictures and it bothers me personally. Me personally. This is my opinion only. If you like that, then go for it. Anyway, I like manga and anime a lot. And I just love the art styles. And so this was very representative of that. And again, one that's not everything except for a lot of the landscape scenes are super complex. Ooh, I like that one a lot. Like, again, this looks like I tell you, I almost, like, if I ever got done with this book, I would take my finished pictures or I'd go cut, like, a bunch of these out if these were bigger. Like, this is art I would mount on my wall. The cool thing is, I would be definitely more likely to do that in a non-Disney book. Because it's not that critical. It's my book. I can chop it up if I need to. I really love this, oh, what's it? Samurai Jack kind of feeling to it. I think I've got that right. I love, like, some of these really dark images are really cool. And I like the mix of styles. You've got a little bit of a kind of Hayao Miyazaki feel to it. You got a little bit of Pokemon kind of feel. Transformers. It's like just some different styles, and I dig it. And finally, I've been seeing that one for a long time, and I thought I'm already in the pot 3 books. Why don't we add a 4th to it? Because the one cool thing about Lyrica, and if you're not aware of it, Lyrica is a French site for different types of books. In particular, they have a lot of the French Disney type books, the color by numbers that I'm showing here, French, Spanish, some different languages, because these don't come in English. They're published over I think most of them are French. The Hachette Heroes, art therapy books, if you've seen any of those on people's sites, the majority of those are obtained through Lyrica, because you can through your browser, translate that to English so that it is, you can navigate the site if you don't know French. And it's also free shipping worldwide, so as far as I know. So while these books can be an investment, it greatly reduces it. Shipping was what made it very difficult to order these books on the different country versions of Amazon, because the shipping would be so high, and it really made a lot of these unobtainable for a lot of people. But the fact that they offer free shipping, I've used them multiple times. They're secure. I haven't had any issues with them. Their books always arrive fairly quickly and in really good quality. I think they get so many people probably in the US buying from them now that it wouldn't surprise me if they've like put in a warehouse or something in the US, just to make it easier to get these shipped out. But they're awesome. Highly recommend them if you do like these types of books. So I've seen a lot of people show this one. And again, I've hemmed and hawed on it for a long time. Now, navigating the site can be a bit tricky, because if you're trying to look, if you're trying to look for a specific book and you don't know the title of it in French, it can get a little tricky to navigate. And like if you're just browsing like me, it took me a little bit to find some of this other stuff. So it can be tricky, but I will try to put the specific links to these books in the description so that you can go to the specific page for those. But yeah, just for browsing, it can get a little difficult if you're trying to look for something specific. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you, because I have trouble. Now these look like there's a few colors down here, but not too many. They seem relatively, there's some detail work a little bit here and there. But I love that this set of colors seems really doable when it comes to like particularly paint pens. I find that like in the Disney books with the huge variety of colors, and of course you want those to be as accurate as possible because they are the official colors that were used in like movies and stuff. I find it very difficult to find like paint pens. I generally have to use like colored pencils. I'll use a variety of paint pens, water-based markers, and different stuff, and then ultimately oftentimes I have to use my Prismacolor colored pencils or something for a very hard to find color, just to be able to get the accurate color representation. But like this seems a lot more doable with just something like water-based markers or paint pens. But see, with alcohol markers, I have a lot more sets that have a lot more variety to them, so it would be a lot easier if I could use those. Now these are cool. Again, not super complex, but y'all know I love witch stuff. Sorcery. This cat picture is amazing. Oh, that totally reminds me. Hopefully I remember to talk about that at the beginning. I love that frog picture too. It totally reminds me about October, y'all. I'm glad I'm doing these out of order so I can tell you guys about it. You already know what I'm talking about. And that's my color along for, oh, I love that. My color along for October. I probably need to post that to Instagram this weekend. Go ahead and get it on the, in the queue, so to speak. Aren't these beautiful? Oh, I love these. Very dark and moody. Very much love those vibes. Now the one thing I haven't tried in these books is watercolor. Ooh, I love that one with like the purples and the lime green. I love that color combination so much. I've not tried watercolor in these types of books, but I've seen other people do it, and I think again, as long as you're not using too much water and it bleeds through, you should be good. But we might be digging into that one for October. All right, so yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I'm gonna tell y'all news in the beginning rather than at the end. Because I'm doing this kind of backwards today. But hopefully, I don't know if I will be back. I probably won't be back this weekend. My goal is to get my Artisto colored pencil review up Wednesday. And then next weekend, I don't know what I'm doing yet. Probably a color and chat, coloring collection, and a color and chat is what I'm hoping. Got to fill y'all all in on everything that's been going on. Hopefully by then I have some of the news that I'm waiting on, and so I can fully fill y'all in next weekend. And like give y'all a Seattle recap and a Winry recap, and it's probably I'm gonna have to pick something fun to do during that. But yeah, and I'm sure I already said it, but I'm not gonna have a completed pages. You know, I might do a plans video on Monday or Tuesday because I definitely know some things I want to do in October. So we might just do a plans video, but as I'm sure I've already told you, no completed pages in September. I've done a handful of pages and they were at the start of the month, so we're just going to do a big one at the end of October, hopefully. But anyway, I hope for those of you that are east of me and south of me, praying for you. I'm thinking about you. I can't imagine what you're dealing with right now. And all obviously there's nothing any of us can say or do if you face devastation that's going to fix anything. But just we're thinking about you. I don't ever give up on you, just because a lot of times I feel like the East Coast, especially the Appalachia region, doesn't get a lot of attention just because it's a very poor area, in a lot of the areas, and I feel like they get ignored a lot. There were a bunch of floods up in the Kentucky Appalachia region, and I don't feel like they got the attention that they needed to, because it was just what you've got people who already, and I'm not trying to minimize damage anywhere else or any situation anybody else is in, but a lot of times, when you have hardly anything to begin with and all of it gets washed away, what are you left with, right? And so I feel like oftentimes they get not as much coverage when things like this happen, and I just hope in this case that they get the support and community support, they get federal support, state support, to try to help them rebuild after all this, and that they're not just simply forgotten because, oh, it's just those poor people in the Appalachia region and we don't care about those people and the disabled and the elderly. That's what I really hope and pray for, and that I feel like we should all, if there's something we can do, it's stay on government officials to make sure that support does continue to reach these people. Stay involved in your local communities, see if you can find ways to send supplies, to send help, find reputable places that can donate and stuff. If those pop up over the next few days, I'll probably start including some of those in my videos, just so people know where they could donate or help. I think the South and Southeast is going to need a lot of help through all this. So, but thinking about all of you, and then anybody else that's going through, going through it right now. Trust and believe. I think we are all going through it right now in some way, shape, or form. Some have it's just a different type for all of us, and so I just hope there are brighter things on the horizon for all of us, really, because we need a break. Most of us, we all just kind of need a break from life being so hard right now, and that's what I really hope for. But anyway, on that note, y'all take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.